So, aside from Crash Bandicoot appearing in Skylanders game, the Imaginators, which doesn't get released until later this November.
Though I have seen it in game shops already, so they're already out.
Is it?
Yeah, on my end of the world.
I didn't think it was actually out until like November 18th, but I'm thinking of the Sonic Lego thing.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. As I said, November on Amazon. That's all it said. But on Netflix exclusive or Netflix original, Skylander Academy,
the TV show.
Well, I guess you can call it a TV show. I don't count TV shows when it's a Netflix original, meaning you can only watch it on a streaming service. But again, yeah, TV show. Crash Bandicoot appeared in a two-parter. Well, the last 2 minutes of the first part and the entirety of the second part.
Yeah, it's a surprise ending note in one episode, then it's all about him in the next episode.
Yeah. And I forced my poor wife to sit through all 2 episodes.
Which, I mean, she's already said she doesn't really enjoy watching Boom, though.
No, she doesn't like Boom. She doesn't like Boom. She thinks it's too silly, which my keeps saying it's meant to be silly. That's the entire point. It's comedic. And Skylander Academy to her is just slightly worse than Boom.
So there you go. If any of you there who think, Boom's a bit too childish, it's like, there's a further level of childish you can go down.
Yeah. And it's basically, those who don't watch Skylander Academy, it's essentially just Spyro and 4 other Skylanders who work together to defend Skylands.
Yeah, the funny thing is that we've known about the show for a bit, but none of us have watched it until now. And even when watching this episode, I quickly caught on what the premise was and what the tone of the show was. It's kind of your typical kid-friendly action adventure, but lots of silly jokes and references type of show. It's it's a very harmless show. There's nothing intentionally wrong with it. It's just it's made for a younger audience, but there's little things in there that, again, it's like, oh, that's kind of a funny joke for a kid's show and that type of thing.
They got Justin Long to voice Spyro.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, a guy who voices Invader Zim to voice Chaos.
Yeah, well, he's been around in a few other things as well, so.
Yeah. But it's a simple show. Spyro, the characteristics is right. They got the characteristics spot on for Spyro.
But the fact that he's the main character in this show, I remember talking to Jaime too when he told me about this. I remember thinking, oh, he won't be in it. It's like, no, he is. He's the main character in the show. It's like, oh, they're finally still using him for some things.
Yeah, just his name's dropped from the billing, but he is prominently there.
Yeah.
So Cinder, but I don't think they introduced her in the series. She actually has a Skylander figure, but Cinder is not there.
Yeah, although I think it's pretty obvious that whatever Spyro, in terms of the franchises in Skylanders, it's clearly been retooled or reused or messed around with for this series.
The Spyro we know is dead. This is a new Spyro.
Well, it's another incarnation, put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the premise is people do evil things and the Skylanders defend. That's pretty much what it is. Essentially, I compare it to TMNT, like the Monster of the Day, Evil of the Day.
Yeah, like TMNT, DuckTales, that type of thing. It's that type of show.
But introduction of Crash, we already talked about Crash and Skylanders and Little Figure looks good. And the design of Crash, look at this in CG, it looks really fucking good.
Yeah, it's pretty much more or less what you've seen in the Skylander one, but a bit more refined for an animation for the show. In fact, speaking of... Sorry.
I was going to say, as far as all the Crash designs we've seen, like from the classic to Mutant, which I think Mutant is the worst designed one.
Yeah, well, Mutant's really just the Titans one, just stretched out a bit, which, not
Yeah, lighter colour, a bit more. Oh, now he has a fucking neck. Yeah. Crash not having a neck is his entire character design.
I mean,
purposely design Crash without a neck.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of one of those things. But point is, this is more what people expect Crash to look like.
Yeah, this is more like if the classic one was actually made today.
Yeah.
Because it has the black eyebrows that don't connect, the mohawk.
The mohawk,
no neck, the
gloves, the jeans, the big Nike shoes things. It's everything. It's pretty much what you imagine Crash to be from your childhood or your nostalgia. It's pretty much here again.
I would be surprised you used this model for the remakes.
I was going to say that's something I'm kind of curious about, which we may talk about a bit later, but we should get on to what the episode's like. Speaking of which, I will say from an animation point of view, being this is the first time I've seen this show, it's really well done. The character animation in this is really surprisingly smooth in this.
I'll say some of the characters look a bit too shiny.
That's true.
Spyro looks a bit too shiny, especially for a dragon.
Yeah, but I'm surprised for these type of characters, especially Crash. They really were given a lot to emote with. I mean, we just seen Series 2 of Boom, and they're definitely up the ante in their character animation, and this one is on the same level as that, if not higher.
Especially with the detail of Crash's fur.
Exactly, yeah. So they've definitely... There's a lot put into this show, from basic technical terms, more than maybe writing, which you can argue to death, but whatever.
Well, as far as the episode goes, it's like, okay, Crash came from another world, and he talks about Cortex, Sensei, and Tana, which we assume, okay, so this is kind of Crash 1.
Yeah, which, again, is kind of funny considering that, again, the remakes are coming soon, so whether this is just an excuse to say, oh, by the way, this is what this character does in his regular series of games.
Yeah, because if it's like supposed to be the introduction to newer fans who grew up with Skylanders, which, surprisingly, there are a lot of Skylander fans, considering it's on its 5th incarnation.
At this point, yeah.
Not the fourth not counting superchargers, because honestly, why the fuck would you make a go-kart in out of super? Really?
Yeah, just on a quick side note, somebody's actually put Crash in those kart racing things and actually tried to emulate Crash Team Racing. There's a video of it out there, so check that out.
But the overall episode is just basically, we need to get Crash back into his world, and he eventually go, okay, we get a dark relic and just travel across the land. And Spyro becomes such a fucking fanboy.
Yeah, there's two things we should talk about. One is the fact Crash does speak in this, alright? And, again...
Which we'll get to later. That's a big thing we're going to talk about.
Alright, okay, I didn't know if you wanted to talk with that.
Yeah, that one, everyone has different opinions on that.
Okay, fair enough. Alright, we'll stick with this. Yeah, that was probably the strangest thing. Not the talking for me, but it was Spyro kissing at his feet at Crash. It just felt so weird.
To a point he actually stuck on his own mohawk and eyebrows.
Yeah, just trying to emulate his moves and everything.
Yeah, Crash, the other when Crash was actually doing anything, it's just always like, really?
Yeah.
Really, Spyro?
Yeah, it's clearly...
Yeah, so it's like, Crash came third. He had 2 games on his belt before Spyro 1 came out, so he had someone to look up to. It's like, yeah, Crash was cool before Spyro was cool, so that kind of makes sense, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you're doing a bit way too far.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I know why the episode does it. It's one of those things of, here's a new character who seems brilliant and amazing at everything he does, and the main character of the show wants to emulate him, which is like, well, you don't have to. You got amazing stuff yourself.
Yeah, I'm pretty much, it's almost close to MGS2, except no one wanted to be Raiden.
Yeah, that's everything. But again, it's weird considering that if you're like us, we grew up when Crash and Spyro first came out, they were so different from each other, and there was always that rivalry of who's better than which. In fact, I had a friend in college who used to have joking arguments over, Crash is better, Spyro's better, blah, 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 all that stuff. And it just feels weird to see this being somewhat the first time these versions of these characters have met up. And the fact one of them is already sucking up to Crash, it feels odd. It does feel weird to see that.
Yeah. But another thing about every time Crash did his own thing, like he was jumping all over the place and does this spin attack, which surprisingly they animated quite well. And they kept using the Crash 1 Wumpa Island theme. Yeah,
they used the Crash theme, which is kind of the weird thing of this, because you thought, like, they would have just put some generic Australian...
Yeah, what surprises me is like its more connection to Crash 1 was that it was the Wumpa Island theme. It was the menu from Crash 1.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't the Crash 2 Warp theme, it wasn't the Crash 3 main theme either, which has become the main theme for Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, for a lot of games, yeah. But still, it was weird. I mean, the fact one of the characters points out saying, where does that theme come from? So...
yeah, fourth wall stuff. Like,
yeah, I know, but they draw attention to the fact that this is a catchy theme, anyway.
Yeah, but characters, there's their own little things and everything. It's like, look, you just call yourself, just be yourself. Like, you don't have to be me. It's like, yeah, I am cool, but I kind of work alone. But that brings us to the biggest thing, like, Crash talks.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot talks. Not the first time that's happened, although this time it's a big thing.
Yeah, because Skyline Academy is official. It is licensed on Activision Blizzard, which surprises me.
Yeah,
but all I can think of right now is that they took the advertisements for Crash 2.
I was going to say the thing that rang in my head was this is the mocap Crash Bandicoot 2 advert thing, but nowhere near as loud as obnoxious as that. If I'm honest, this was a lot toned down.
Yeah, it is. It's one actually. Yeah. Okay, why is Australian? Because he's a marsupial. Bandicoots come from there.
And the Crash in the original Crash games, the 3 islands they live on, they're right next to Australia. So
yeah.
So it makes sense if he were to have an Australian accent from that aspect.
And surprisingly, even as I was kind of I'm kind of used to him doing. I like him when he's just going occasional one-off whoa or
whoa wow type thing.
Yeah, and even Crash at Titans going
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the funny thing is that, before the reboot, we had the radical version, which they had what fans are called the Blubble Talk with Jess Hari. I might have said his name wrong, but the guy who plays Wacko in Animaniacs, he was the voice of Crash, and I do find it a bit odd that he wasn't involved. Yes, him. I was surprised he wasn't involved in this, considering that the Skylanders Imaginative Crash game actually has him and Lex Lanning as Crash and Cortex.
Lex Lang,
sorry. I'm not good with
not Langen, not Lanning.
All right. Again, I'm not good with names. But
Lex Lang's just is the Cortex for me. Clancy Brown's is pretty much almost tied.
But like I said, the fact that they had those two who were, for a long time, they were the longest running ongoing actors for the characters. So the fact that they weren't, at least Crash one wasn't really, he didn't come back for Crash's one, I was kind of surprised with that.
Well, it's a lot of people are going to be very different about it. It's Crash doesn't talk. I guarantee in the remake games he won't talk.
And I'm kind of curious about this, whether this is could Crash. I'm really curious about this, whether if he doesn't talk, whether they still use Jess, or whether they do more he starts expositioning things in the game.
Yeah, because here more exposition by Lex Lang or whoever they got for Nitrous Brio. That would be good, a bit more context, because other than that, you haven't got really much. So,
no, I mean, you used to have the masks, of course. You used to have Aku Aku and Uka Uka. So...
Yeah, but they don't appear in this episode either. It's just Crash.
It's just Crash, yeah.
So, but going straight up, sticking with the remakes, it's I'm still wondering whether or not they will reference Uka Uka, because apparently he was working for him.
Yeah, well, that was the thing in Crash 3. Supposedly everything that happened in 1 and 2 was all because of him. So I don't know whether that's just, to make all 3 games all tie in better together in that plot assumption, but I don't know.
It's again with Metal Gear Solid, is that in Twin Snakes, a lot of the stuff was, when it remade it, was altered to be more in canon with MGS2 and upcoming 3.
In terms of gameplay, yeah, and I do remember with that, it was...
No, even the dialogue was changed.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Can't remember the name. The doctor who worked on Grey Fox. It was in the original game. It was a he, but later it was changed to a she.
Okay.
So as we get in more canon with the remake, that's why I'm assuming with Uka Uka being more prominent in Crash 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, whether they allude more to him in the first 2 games, and then Crash 3, it's the big final reveal of him.
Yeah.
So
I'm still hoping it's a trilogy, not just separate downloads for $15 each.
Yeah. Like I said, whether they want to connect all 3 games as one whole thing, the fact that when you end each game, there's a little thread of something bigger and evil is about to happen, or maybe end each game with maybe showing what Cortex is about to do, and then we start off the next games. Again,
another remake is Sonic 2 remake, because at the ending, when you get all Chaos Emeralds, you see Eggman jumping up and down in what looks like Angel Island, and you see Knuckles' eyes in the background.
Yeah.
So maybe a small connection like that would be good.
Yeah. But again, whether this show has any connection to them or vice versa, it's again still for debate. That's what we do. We'll still be probably talking this until they finally come out.
Yeah. So basically, if you want to see curious about Skylander Academy and just want to see Crash in action, just before the remake, just watch these 2 episodes.
Yeah.
The first one, you don't have to watch all of it, but it's kind of interesting if you want to get a more grasp of the show.
It's there if you want to get the idea of, okay, what's the show generally like on its own?
Yeah, the episode's called Crash Landed.
Yeah.
Which is ironic.
Boom. But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned in terms of an episode, I thought an episode. I mean, obviously, first of all, I as a kid always wanted to see a Crash Bandicoot in animation. You know, I used to do like every other fanboy did. Drawings, and hell, I even came up with feature film ideas for Crash Bandicoot. So many of them, and the notion of that happening in reality was obviously very thin because by the time I was growing up, Crash Bandicoot became less and less successful, less appealing to a lot of people. So to have this happen now, it's kind of like the dream come true. Just it happened to take a lot longer than you expected to do. But that said, I still love the fact that Crash got to be in some animated form in this. And, for the episode that we have, it really does show off, like I said, the episode's about showing off how great he is as a character as well as, what he can do. And one thing I was really happy with this episode is that they didn't make Crash a moron. Because it would have been so easy just to go back to the Twin Sanity thing of, he's an empty-headed, brain-dead idiot. And I never saw Crash as that to me. And I know that's going to totally be on people's own views because obviously you can read into Crash because being a silent protagonist, you can view him as, is he an idiot? Is he kind of smart? Is he half and half? You can take it any way. But for me, I feel that making Crash a more stronger character in this, it sort of feels better that for younger kids, they will want to know more about this guy and his games. Obviously, because one thing in video games is that the one thing you never want to play is an idiot, right? You don't want to end up playing a main character who's useless in the game, and that being the whole joke, because it's like, what's the point of playing? I'm not a Joe. I'm not able to do these amazing things. I'm just a moron.
Well, I'm just thinking to myself right now is that when the remakes come out, will they actually be a Crash Bandicoot cartoon, a spin-off? That
is the one other thing about this, because if anything, if you put Crash in a show like this, it's like, surely you can do one with him on his own. You can have a Crash Bandicoot show. Hell, if anything, plan may be that to do this, it's a peek into maybe, for all we know, they may be working on it, for all we know.
Maybe Activision can actually get out of their asses and actually let people actually do a Spyro movie, the one that was promised.
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing, because recently Activision have announced that they're going to expand into different medias, and they says Academy's already been a big hit, and they're already thinking of other TV shows and feature films. So, like I said, Crash Bandicoot has to be the next step. Although, undoubtedly, it would have to be a very different show from this, because, Crash is such a different feel from both Spyro and Skylanders that I think you would have to retool it to make it work for Crash, like how all the Sonic shows have been. Each one has been this separate and an entity that they have to be their own shows in their own right, rather than just trying to follow on in the same style or visuals as the previous show they've done.
They had to reintroduce all new characters as well.
Exactly, yeah. So, and like I said, I wouldn't be too surprised later down the series whether they do another episode which the Skylanders end up in Crash's world, and it's now like, okay, the tables have turned now. You got to sort out my villain.
Still hoping for when actually let Spyro have his own series again.
Maybe. I do find it weird. I find it bizarrely weird with everything going on with Crash Bandicoot. The weird thing with this whole deal is that, some of you may know this, but the whole idea with Skylanders is that originally it was called Spyro's Kingdom, and, it was set as a Spyro game, but in the same sense you buy toys to do this whole thing, and then they retooled it to what it is now. I've always had this sense that since the series moved on, both of them, from Naughty Dog and Insomniac, I don't think the companies really know what to do with Spyro. They know it's popular, but they're kind of like, it's not really that big a deal to many people. Like, there's the hardcore fans out there who love either the originals or the Legend series, but it's not as viewed in the same way like Crash is, because, like we said for years, we want to see Crash Bandicoot come back, and there's been this huge ordeal about it, particularly of the PlayStation 4 coming out, and even this year, is like, Crash has to come back. It has to come back. It's a big deal. Whereas Spyro, it just feels like, yeah, it's okay if he's back, but,
Yeah.
And I don't want to sound mean to the Spyro fans. That's not being insulting. It's the fact that there is this...
I was just going to say, it's like, at least find a developer who wants it. Like, even though, like, fans developing something they love will be a lot of ass-kissing everything to the series. But at least with, like, when Zanzaro Games did the Sonic game, they wanted to give us a good one. Even though it didn't do well, it was still good. They had their own ideas how to do it.
Yeah. And like I said, the funny thing with the whole deal is that when people first thought about, why don't you put Crash and Skylanders, because we thought that was the only future the series had, and then apparently Activision go, oh, no, if we did that, that'd just be for money-hungry, stupid idiots. We don't want to do that to Crash. So it does feel weird how that's kind of turned out.
Yeah, I mean, this Skylanders is actually losing sales. I'm like, oh, let's put Crash in it.
Yeah,
it's the last option.
Yeah, but like I said, the fact that we've got the half and half that he is in Skylanders, but as a guest character, and he's got his own series to go back to. So I don't know. I think again, there's more.
It is an introduction to the character for new fans. Like, here's a character that has his own entity, and not just is another blue knight who shoots lightning.
It's another made-up character that you can switch and swap, like in the Imaginators thing. Yeah. So I don't know, but like I said, it's nice to see Crash back in this, and we can only assume even bigger things are yet to come, and who knows, maybe Spyro may follow on soon.
Yeah. So go watch Skylanders and have your own opinion on whether or not you like the voice or not.
Yeah. I will say this, if you're going to continue Crash speaking, don't use extreme every time he does a mood, because that's not really him. That's more Sonic the Hedgehog. 90s Sonic the Hedgehog, if anything else.
Yeah. Oh, Sonic Boom. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Sonic Boom would be ironic.
Yeah.